We'll get it. Okay, let's see if it's now gonna do. Preparing to go live. Well, so this is our last session of Ignite for the year. Now we're going to do some other things between now and the end of the year on Tuesdays, at least on Tuesdays, maybe on when, I don't know. So Bold is over on Thursday, like the 6th. And then after that, we can go back to Thursdays, which we will, because Wednesdays are hard. Wednesdays are hard, and I think it's kind of gotten everybody out of whack on what we're doing. Okay. Now let me look on Facebook and make sure we're there. And there we are. Okay, good deal. Good deal. All right. So like I said, this is our last session of Ignite. And so today we're going to talk about plan your future. And then I'll kind of give you a preview of some of the things we'll be doing between now and the end of the year. Did everybody have a good Thanksgiving? Yeah. Did anybody eat too much like me? Oh my gosh. That's so much food, and I still have leftovers, but I love leftovers. There's nothing better. Well, I think that's because I don't love cooking, and so leftovers mean another day I don't have to cook. And I think that's pretty darn good. So we're going to go to our materials, and I'm going to share that now. So we can just dive in, because there's a whole bunch we're going to go through. And I want to make sure. Good morning, Connor. I see you online. See if we got some eyeballs on Facebook. Oh, Tim is coming on board. Yay. Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go. Okay, plan your future. Oh my goodness. So we will start up Ignite again in January. If there are sessions that you missed or sessions you want to refresh on, then I would definitely recommend that. And come the new year, we're going to actually have, for those of you who have gone all the way through Ignite, then we're going to have another level of launch for you. That'll be more like a mastermind and growing skills and working on some of the things that you learned in Ignite. But Ignite is just, if you've noticed, it's the surface, right? It's the introduction. And now we want to also have another level for you all to go deeper. Does that sound good? And we're going to also partner with some of the other new agents who have gotten into production and all of that, and they'll help present too. So it's going to be a joint effort of not just us, the coaches, but your peers are going to be helping present some of the material and share some of the experiences they have had. So we're really excited about that, and we'll be working on that to get that launched at the first of the year, and it'll be called Launch 2.0. So it's all still under the launch umbrella. It's just, we found that once you're done with Ignite, yes, you should be working on your business and focusing a ton of time on lead gen, but we do believe there's still a lot of skills and knowledge to be had. And Ignite, it takes you on the surface. It's kind of like the difference between snorkeling and scuba diving, right? Snorkeling on the surface, scuba diving going deep. So Ignite is taking you on the scuba or the snorkeling adventure. Then we want to take you on I get them both confused. Snorkeling is, I've never done scuba diving. I've just done the snorkeling, and I wasn't very good at it. It's kind of hard to figure out how to breathe. Yes, it's harder than it looks. So let's get going. So here's what we've been doing. This is what 20 sessions of Ignite is what we covered. And there was a lot of it. And we're going to talk about, how do you put this all together? Because it does feel like pieces of a puzzle here in the beginning. And so we want to make certain that you're mapping this out to take it to the next step and to the next level. And that means it's working on this foundation, because the foundation is this. We do the lead gen to get the business. And we do the lead gen to get the leads, then we do the lead follow-up to get the transactions. Really, it should also say in their appointments, because that lead follow-up should get you the appointments that get you the transaction. And so that's what Ignite has given you, this foundation for building your business. And today we're still in the transaction portion here at the end. And we're going to talk about we're going to talk about a little bit about finances today. And then we're going to review success systems so that you are thinking about how you're going to build and run your business. So let's do it. Let's talk about setting our sights on big futures. How many of you have started your 2024 business plan? Okay. Have you, Jaden, you probably didn't get to attend David's business planning clinic? Okay, so tomorrow, Wednesday, David and I are doing for Red Class, working on your business plan. So if you haven't started it at all, then I want you to email Yvette and ask her to send you your own 2024 business plan. Okay. Then she'll send one that is just for you. And then tomorrow, if you haven't finished it, has anybody finished theirs? Of course not. Yeah.
Got a lot closer than I did on the 2023 one.
Okay. Yeah. That's good. So I don't expect you all to have them done. And that's why taking some dedicated time tomorrow will be very valuable for you. David and I will both be there to help you to explain some stuff, because I know if you did go to his business planning clinic, it was a lot.
It was.
Did it make? Yeah. Debbie, how'd you feel after you left there?
Overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like deer in headlights, overwhelmed. Like I walked out thinking, I don't know that I can ever touch this again and make sense of it. So
I thought it was really helpful to go back and watch the video that's on the spreadsheet,
Yeah.
because you can pause it
yeah,
and
that's true.
go at your own pace, because he went really fast.
Yeah.
on that day.
3 hours. It should be like a whole day.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, that business planning clinic should be a whole day. And we know that when you see this business plan for the first time, most of you are going to just be like, oh my God. I'll hopefully make you feel better. And the first time over 10 years ago, when David showed me the business plan, I just wanted to puke. I was just like, you want me to teach this? Oh God, it looks nasty. All those numbers, all those tabs. It was a spreadsheet. I was like, oh, that looks awful. And now I love it, because I want you all to see what a tool it is, how helpful it can be to helping you know what to do. Do you ever wake up now that you're in real estate and think, I don't know what to do today? Do you ever wake up and think, I'm not sure what to do today? So if that has been your struggle of knowing where to prioritize and where to focus in this new business, that's where the business plan is so helpful. So we're going to talk about, in the real estate, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. And if you haven't read it, you better get a reading. And then I want you to read it every year. If you've been part of Zach's book club, you know he's already covered this, and it is just like the business plan. You're not going to absorb all of this in one read. You're not. And you're at a place in your business that not all of this is going to connect. Some of it's just going to go right over your head, and that's okay. But I want you still reading it so you can at least have that base of knowledge, so that when it does start, the pieces do start coming together more easily for you. You're going to go, oh yeah, that's what they were talking about. Same with the business plan. We find that when you're new, like in your first year, and John kind of even spoke to it. He said he's further along this year than he was last year. We know it's overwhelming and that you may just barely touch it, kind of use it, kind of fill it out. So we just want to help build your knowledge of it and your comfort level so that you will start using it and understand how helpful of a tool it can be. And it's all based on here. All David did when he built that business plan was to take the models in here and put it in a spreadsheet. That's all I did. Do you know that most market centers, they don't have that spreadsheet, that business plan like we do? They don't. They have nothing like it. So, and there's a line in the Millionaire Agent book. To have a better chance of hitting the target, aim high. Aiming high begins with thinking big, and that's what we're going to focus on right now. And read this. How you think matters. How you think in the beginning really matters. I'm going to read that again. How you think matters. How you think in the beginning really matters. Meaning getting yourself off and your new business off on the right foot is critical to the future of your business and your success. Because my mom used to tell me till I was just so sick of it, thoughts are things. And I'd say, oh, anytime I was negative, my mom would say, thoughts are things. I'd be like, oh. It wasn't until I was an adult that I realized she's right. What I'm putting in my head, what I'm thinking about matters. And you can decide to have a good day or a bad day. Like, does anybody else have Christmas tree lights that gave them hell this weekend? Oh my gosh. Well, that's what, yeah. So I, on maybe Saturday night, got the tree up, got all the lights on after I fluffed it, spent over an hour on the lights, had it all going, thought, great, when I wake up Sunday, all I have to do is put ornaments on. So I plug it in and the twinkle lights are going and it's looking great. I go and fix coffee. I come back and it's like, and I have it on a timer. I'm like, did the timer go off? And then I look at the top. Oh no, there are lights up here. Nothing from the on 2/3 of the tree. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I can't take it. I can't take it. So my husband and I went and bought new lights. Luckily, he then looked at fuses and it was one fuse and we got it fixed. And I didn't have to strip the tree. But because I had to put some new strings on there. I was like, no, this can't be. And so, but and then, oh, the other thing that happened is I forgot to put, I have one of those Christmas tree collars for around the base. Oh, my husband says after I have every ornament on, it says, oh, where's that thing for the bottom? And I'm like, oh, in the barn, in a plastic bag somewhere that I didn't even see. And I'm like, and normally for me, that would kind of put me in a tiz because I like things the way I like things. And I had to say, you know what? I'll just go get a Christmas tree skirt because I can't. I have glass ornament. He's like, well, I could try to pick up the tree. I said, don't you dare. Because then having ornaments fall off and break would be more disturbing than getting a Christmas tree. And so I had to make the decision how I was going to have this day that wasn't starting out so great finish. So how you think matters. And so I want you all thinking about how are you thinking right now about your real estate business? How are you thinking about real estate in general? How are you thinking about where you are and what you do? Any thoughts about how you feel about where you are in real estate right now? Anybody want to share?
Not where I want to be.
Okay.
Treading.
Driving. Okay. Okay. Thanks for the honesty. Yeah. It's hard in the beginning. And it's a lot of work. And it's not always immediate results. It's not.
Yeah, I just think about like, it's like easy to think like, yeah, well, I don't have any business, just like popping up.
Right.
For me, but I also think about like I've done so much like work setting up a business to where I feel a lot more confident that in the future it might just kind of take off on its own.
No,
So
it
like,
will.
look at what you've accomplished already and build on that.
I think that's so important. I think when you're new, I think sometimes you think you're not winning unless you have a client, unless you're under contract, unless you've had the closing, right?
Mhm.
Well, I want you to think about all the work you've put in. What have you put in place? Have you worked on your database? Have you worked on your listing presentation, on your buyer's consultation? Have you done open houses? All of those things are wins. Every day you get up and work real estate and go connect with people, that's a win. Because remember, we can't force anybody to buy or sell a house, can we? No. All we can do is get in front of enough people that we hope to come across somebody that now is their time. All we can do, since we can't force them, all we can do is tell them why now might be a good time for them. Right? And so it's getting in front of enough people to see who might be ready to buy or sell. And that's where those are your wins, getting up and showing up and doing the work and putting foundation in there. Because remember, you are building a whole new business. And if you haven't done that before, it takes more work than I think most people realize. And so give yourself credit, like John just said, give yourself credit for what you have done to date. And all the learning that you've put in, this isn't an automatic business. It isn't. And some people think it is, but it is not. So that's where mindset matters. And we've talked about it. Did it ever surprise you in all of this training that you're doing, KW training, how much we talk about what's in your head? Has it surprised anybody? It did me in the beginning. I was like, why are we talking about my head? Well, 80% of success, 80% of success is what's in your head. 10% is skill and knowledge. Doesn't mean you don't need skill and knowledge, but how you think. Has anybody heard that quote? I think it's Ford. Forgot his first name now. Who? Henry Ford. Yes, thank you. Henry Ford. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're correct. Because what you tell yourself is what your brain will believe you're capable of or not. And so is your head aligned with your heart and your drive? Or are you your limiting belief? If you've gone to Bold, you've heard about well, they don't talk about the drunk monkey as much. But we used to talk about the drunk monkey, and the drunk monkey is your limiting thoughts. So what kind of limiting thoughts have you been placing on yourself, especially as you get going in this business, that has kept you? Have you kept you from going to the next level and succeeding? Because a lot of times it is us and all of the stuff in our head. Oh, nobody wants to hear from me. Oh, I'm bothering people. Oh, nobody wants to work with me. Oh, nobody wants to buy a house. Oh, everybody's scared of interest rates. Oh, business, the market is hard. Oh, one of our most successful agents is Blake Nelson in this office. Did you all were you at the business meeting when he talked? Does anybody remember what he said? He said, in hard times, he goes, I just have to avoid the news. I have to avoid the news and not hear the negative, because he said that would get in my head. And he goes, that would impact my ability to think that I could succeed. And so he tries to keep himself in the positive. And when we're having to have relationships with people, and we have to be the boss, and we have to be the driver of our business and ourselves, if our head is not in the right place, what's going to happen? It's going to impact us and our ability to show up and do and to help people. So that's why it's so important that you feel like you're ready to take action that's going to put you on the success path, because you've already been doing a lot of those actions. But I want you to think about, is there anything you've kept yourself from doing? Or is there anything you've told yourself lately about real estate that maybe you need to do a double check on? Anybody? Anybody been worried about the market? Have you been worried about interest rates? Okay. But can you then see that no matter what the interest rates are, no matter what the housing market is doing right now, people have to buy and sell homes all the time because of life events. Life events don't hold just because interest rates go up or down. Life events don't go on hold just because we don't have a lot of inventory out there. People are going to get married, they're going to get divorced, or they're going to pass away, they're going to have kids, they're going to get transferred for jobs, they're going to need to downsize and go into assisted living. Those things happen no matter what else is happening. And so it is your job to get in front of those people that are going to have those moments of needing to do those things. So I want you thinking, where do I need to adjust my thinking, and where am I holding myself back? Because we're our own worst enemies. I always wonder, is anybody a pretty good critic to themselves? And I don't mean good in a good way, but are you critical with yourself?
Mhm.
Yeah. I think to a certain extent that's human nature, that we pick on ourselves.
Mhm.
But I also have noticed, why are we, especially when we're self-employed and have things that we need to get done, why do we give ourselves a pass so easily? Oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, I'll do. But then we hit ourselves so hard, like, oh, you're not any good. You're not going to succeed. You're not da 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 da. Why do we do that? I don't know why we do that, but we do, right? And so we've got to think, what are our actions in our head? Are they aligned with what we want to succeed and what we want to do?
I will say that listening to Pivot Shift Ahead in the morning for 20 minutes is a good way, like, to get you out of that funk if you're not really feeling it. Just to listen to
100%.
other agents just around, different states and stuff, call in and what their market is and what they're doing. And it's just a real positive
Don't you? That's
in
what
a negative sometimes.
it is. I've been listening since the pandemic.
Mhm.
And that was scary in the beginning. And it is what has kept me sane. I'll be honest, that listening to Pivot Shift Ahead. And if you're not familiar with Pivot Shift Ahead, that's with James Shaw. And there is a Zoom call that you also can watch on the Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook page at 7 a.m. our time. It's recorded, so you can go back to that Facebook page, just like ours, and watch those videos. 20 minutes. I'm getting ready in the morning. I'm either on the treadmill or in the shower or what have you, and I'm listening. If I miss it, I listen to it in the car because my drive is more than 20 minutes. And it is truly, thank you for saying that, Amy. It keeps my head on straight. When I start thinking, oh, this is hard. Oh, this is, it really, and it's solution based. So it's not just rah, let's stay positive. It's let's stay positive and focus on actions that actually are working for people, regardless of the market. So I always learn something and it keeps my head. So thank you for saying that, because it truly has helped me greatly with new knowledge. Just because I've been doing this for a while doesn't mean I know everything. Far from it. I'm always learning something new. And what I love, don't you also love that the community's big enough that not only from all over the United States and the world, we have Canadians and some others on there, but also all types of production. It's not just for high production people, but they're on there and they're sharing. It's for mid-range and it's for people brand new. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, when we look at, and we've shared this several times with you all about, remember the Keller Williams belief system. And it goes along with the 6 personal perspectives. Remember when we talked about the 6 personal perspectives? Well, the belief system at Keller Williams is the Y4C2 T's, and that's win-win or no deal. Integrity, do the right thing. Customers always come first. Commitment in all things. Communication, seek first to understand. Creativity, ideas before results. Teamwork, together everyone achieves more. Trust starts with honesty. Equity, opportunities for all. And success is results through people. We live this, we do this. It's doing business the right way. And that's important to us as an office, as a company, and it's important to our culture. I would suggest to you also that you need to revisit your value proposition. Do you remember that session of Ignite? Some of you will remember that we had you writing your value proposition. Did you do it? Do you need to revisit it? It is your elevator speech of why would someone choose you as an agent? You're going to say, well, but I'm new. How can I tell someone they should use me? Well, your background. What are your skills that you're bringing to real estate? If you've been a project manager, it's a great skill to be able to say, my experience, my former experience as a project manager serves me well in real estate to get you from start to finish successfully. If you're a teacher, if you've been a teacher in your past life, then being able to say, my education background, I bring to the table in real estate to help you understand every step of the transaction so that you will feel confident in going through this with me. So think of what you've done in the past and have that. And are you confident in sharing that with you? Otherwise, you're just the same as any other agent. You've got to say what makes you different. And it doesn't have to be a huge thing. Maybe it's your desire to give an amazing customer or client experience. And being able to say what that client experience is going to look like. Here's how I will communicate with you. Here's how I will keep you up to date on every step of the process as we go from start to finish. Here's I'll even have materials that you can take home and refer to, or on my app. I have, on your KW app that you share with people, do you guys realize that there are guides on there? So those guides down there at the bottom, do you understand that they're there, but you can personalize them and there's just a basic thing on all the steps of a transaction, but you can actually edit them in command so that there's more details to that. And say to them, if you ever have questions about what happens during an appraisal, go on my guide and it's detailed. So if you forget, all of that's there. So remember, you've got those tools to be able to share with them to make sure they feel confident in what's happening. And it also brings value. So your value proposition isn't just hooey and us just talking to just like, yeah, come up with your elevator speech. It truly is. What is going to make you different? Do any of you have you really thought about what you want your business to look like? What do you want that experience to look like for a client? Do you want it seamless? Do you want them to feel well educated? Do you want them, what do you want that experience to look like? I always wanted mine to be plus, meaning I was going to make sure, that's why I created so many of my power tools, is I wanted checklists not only for myself, but for my clients, so they could have tools that they couldn't easily get with another agent. So I was always trying to plus it. That congratulations, you're under contract. Most agents don't ever send anything like that to their clients, ever. Debbie, has anybody ever sent that to you with all the houses you bought?
Yeah.
They have, good.
Well, but they were a KW agent at the time, so.
Okay, but it didn't happen all the time.
No, in some of the previous ones, no, absolutely not. In fact, some of them were not as stress-free. And that's big, that's what I stand by. I want it to be stress-free and smooth and seamless for them.
I love that. Okay, so that's part of your value proposition that you've got to be able to say, because and think about it, Debbie, how many moves have you made?
5.
5. That's a lot. She can say, I know what it's like, especially for a military family. She can say, I've been in your shoes. I understand the process. I understand the stress. I understand that it's usually one of the spouses is not there to be part of the process. I get that. And I can take you through that so that it is as stress-free as possible and seamless as possible. Love that. I love that. So think about it. What is it I stand for? What is that experience I want to create for my clients? Put a lot of thought into that, and that will help make you different. Okay, so when we talk about big why, can somebody tell me what a big why is? What's your perception? And there's not a right or wrong definition of it. A big why leads to a big life. So what is a big why? Anybody?
Ours is just being out on our own, like having, my husband and I want to have our own business. We want to control our own life. And so that's our big why. And in order to be successful, we have to interact with people the way that we would want to be interacted with.
I love that. So for her, it's getting to that level of building a business with her husband. So they're in charge of their futures, and they're also in charge of the experience that people have. That was big for me. When I was in the corporate world, I didn't get always control of what I got to do or not do, right? And there'd be things I'd be like, oh, I would do this so differently. When I got into real estate, I'm like, okay, now I get to decide how this goes. And so do you. So your big why is what's going to drive you? What gets you up in the morning to do real estate? For some of you, here's where I can tell you, if you don't have it linked in your mind to why you get up and do real estate every day, then some days you're not going to get up and do real estate. And then you'll have more days that you're not going to get up and do real estate, especially when it gets harder or things seem more challenging, what have you. You're just going to say, I don't want to do it today. I don't feel it. And if you're not thinking, I'm doing this because of the future I want to have, and maybe for some of you, then you just need to think of the future you want to have next year. Is anybody else, is it hard for you to think 5 years out? Used to be for me, big time. I used to be, when people say, Amy, where do you want to be in 5 years? I'd just be thinking, I don't know.
5 years older.
I don't know.
5 years younger, actually.
But here's what I came to realize is that if I just let that happen, then I just let my life happen. Why do you think bold is a life by design, not by default? I lived many years by default. Some of the jobs I took were just because that was kind of the next thing in front of me, not because that's what I really wanted, but that was the next thing in front of me. Oh, okay, I'll do that. I wasn't purposeful. I wasn't thinking about. So that made me change my thought process of where I want to be in 5 years. And that still is kind of hard for me to think, like, how I have to break it down on like next year. Where do I want to get? It'll get me closer to the 5 years. And then the year after that in 2025, where do I want to grow? So that gets me next. Instead of going from here to 5 years, I have to chunk it down for me. And then it makes a difference. And then I have to be purposeful. I think some of you have heard me say one of the things I did this year, if you follow me on Facebook, we do a lot of stuff. Mike and I go a lot of places. Well, that's on purpose, because I'm not kidding when I say, if I didn't do that, I'd stay home every weekend and be happy. I'm a homebody at heart. But then I'd see cool stuff going on and I'd be like, I'd like to do that someday. How many times have something happened and you thought, oh, but you didn't plan it, so it didn't happen, and it just went by. So I said this year, I got out a calendar and I started looking up events purposely. Like just this week, Thursday night, we're going to the Arboretum, do the candlelight stroll. Saturday night, we're going to the Vale Mansion in Independence. And if you haven't seen this mansion, it's the coolest old Victorian. And they decorate it to the nines for Christmas. It's on like a 2-acre or 3-acre piece of land in Independence. It's gorgeous. And we're going to their champagne and chandeliers, where they serve appetizers and champagne with everything decorated for Christmas. We went last year and had a blast. I'm like, and I'd seen it for years and thought, oh, that'd be fun. And I didn't do it. And then I was like, I'm doing it. So I just surprised Mike. I just send him calendar invites. Here's what we do. He's like, I'm so glad you do this. But I was purposeful. And what can you be more purposeful about when you're looking towards your future? And if looking 5 years ahead, it seems a little overwhelming, then just think of what successes, what growth do I want and need this next year? Does it make better sense? And be purposeful, even in the little things with your personal life, like I've been. Yeah, it's just, I make myself do these things. Otherwise, I'd be home in my jammies. One thing all high achievers have in common is they're working for a big why. The big why is about having a purpose, a mission, or a need that in turn gives you focus. So for some of you, here's what I love. Have you ever heard, I don't know if you've ever heard Gary Keller say this, but Gary Keller says that real estate should be and can be your financial vehicle to get wherever you want to go. And that doesn't actually have to be real estate as your final goal. I will tell you though, real estate can complement. So and that's one of the things you'll see a lot of, you'll come across a lot of stories of Keller Williams agents, not that other agents don't do this also, but because we talk about this so much and tell people, what is your mission? Do you have a mission and purpose in life beyond real estate that real estate could help fund? Like, do you love animals and would love to either have your own nonprofit or really be able to give to a nonprofit? I know of a Keller Williams agent who he and his wife went to Africa to adopt a child. They had to stay there like 3 months. And the baby was at an orphanage, and they would go every day to visit the orphanage. And they realized that this orphanage could really benefit by having more goats for goat's milk. Okay. He started a nonprofit, and now he runs this Give a Goat nonprofit. And real estate has allowed him to do that, meaning he's built a solid real estate business that allows him to take 3 months off a year and go to Africa and work on his nonprofit. Pretty cool, huh? So do you have a mission or a passion? Or like what Debbie's saying, that business she and her husband want to build? Real estate's going to be part of their business model, and he does the financial planning. She's going to do the real estate part. But what is that's going to get you up and keep you focused to work this business? Because as a coach, I can't force any of you to do work. I can hopefully inspire you and help you keep focused. But really, it's up to you. There's not a whole lot I can do because I'm not your employer. You're not my employee. It's not like I can say, Jaden, I'll fire you. It's about you. It's about you coming to the table. And that's why the high achievers have it linked. That's why they get up in the morning. It's not like they're super positive every single moment of their life. That's impossible. Those people aren't real. They're on drugs. I don't think that's real. If you're positive every single minute, because we all have ups and downs in our world, right? And so that's just going to happen no matter what. I want you to think about that, big why, because you are after extraordinary results. It is the reason you get up every day to do what you do. And I also want you to think, if some of you look at the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book and you think, oh my God, I don't want to be that crazy millionaire agent. That's okay. This is just a model that will get you there or anywhere in between if you follow the systems and models in here. So don't think we push that everybody has to be a millionaire agent. If you have that dream and you have that goal, great. But if you want to just make a good, healthy living of what you want, that's okay too. If this is just a supplement income and you just want to sell a couple of houses on the side every year, that's okay. If this is a business that you want to create and build and grow and get to where you have a team, that's okay too. So I want you to think, when you're thinking about your big why, please don't think, here's what's the most important thing on the front of this cover of this book is the subtitle here. What's this say? What's it say under it?
It's about being the best you can be.
Yeah. It's not about the money. It's about being the best you can be. Gary Keller says, I picked a catchy title, but this is really, because if you are being the best that you can be, then you will get the success. That's what he was trying to give you as the success models in here. And that's what we teach. And that's what Ignite has been all about, is taking that information from here and sharing it with you in this format. So your big why, is it big? Is it big for you? Don't judge it to somebody else's big why. Because John's big why is going to be different than Debbie's. Jaden's is going to be different than Matt's. And that's okay. It's got to be personal to you on what is it that you want. And so it has to feel important. It gets you out of bed every day, excited to get busy. And if you don't feel excited the minute you get out of bed, then watch Pivot Shift Ahead. That will help. Brings you energy and focus. Is the ultimate turbocharger for you. Because remember, in this business, you have to have internal drive. You have to. Like I said, I'm not going to come to your house and knock on the door and say, where are you? I'll check in. One of us will check in if we haven't seen you in a while, because we'll be worried. Hope everything's okay, but I can't say come to work. And so your big why should incorporate all the people in your life and the good that you can provide for them. So do you have dreams for your family, for the people around you, the people that are important to you, that you want to be able to provide for in the future? Can real estate get you there? So big why, powers a big life, like we've talked about. And it helps you say yes to the right things and no to the things that you shouldn't be doing or are sucking your time and energy and effort. Okay, let's talk about the money. But to talk about the money, we've got to talk about the 6 core competencies of business. This is what you need to master. You need to master and work on all 6 of these to have a successful business. And number 1 is lead generate, capture, and convert to appointments. That's our number 1. You can have the best customer service in the whole wide world, but if you have no customers, it's not going to matter. You have to present to buyers and sellers and get agreement, meaning having those consultations, listing consultation, buyers consultation, getting them to hire you and sign an agreement. Show the buyers and market the listings. Write and negotiate contracts. Coordinate the sale to closing, that contract to close process, that 30 to 45 days. And then afterwards, when you get paid, what are you doing with your money? Manage the money. Does anybody feel like they've mastered or they feel really comfortable in any one of these areas? What area do you feel like you need to focus on the most? To personally, for you to, where are you feeling like you're struggling? Anybody?
Lead generation.
Okay. And what to do, how to do it, doing enough of it, in what way, Matt?
Trying to find different ways to go outside of the circle of people and contacts that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna start hanging, there's a group that goes to the dog park as well. So I
Yes.
started to hang out with them and then I'm trying to do little things like that, but seeing that, it's not generating it.
Not
I'm
yet.
introducing. a
Planting
lot,
seeds.
But nothing's germinating.
Okay. Yeah, and remember, not all seeds germinate at the same time at all. Some take a long time, some pop right out of the ground. And that's what we're doing. You have to do seed bombs all the time, seed bombs all the time. It kind of sounds cold to say this, but this business is a numbers game, getting in front of enough people to see. But I love the dog park because it is a great way to build business and to build relationships, because you have to build relationships to build business.
And then doing an art show weekend. I have a friend who's a ceramic artist. She has
Uh-huh.
her own studio. She has a Christmas opening, so she's gonna let me hang out. And meet people, but still, it seems like it's a lot of time to generate contacts without any feedback.
I get it. Well, I want you all to know, does anybody know what the turnover rate has been this year for people buying and selling? What percentage of people are buying and selling right now this year, as across the board in the United States?
It's lower than it should be.
It's lower than it should be. So it's not that your efforts, it's only like 4%. 4% of the people that you're meeting will be thinking of buying and selling this year. It's usually 10 to 15% is the average. So those activities, the reason things haven't popped is there are fewer people right at this moment. It doesn't mean that that's what it's going to look like next year, but right at this moment, there are fewer people that are buying and selling. And so you got to talk to more people to find the people who are. Make sense? So don't think your efforts aren't working, because it just means you got to talk to more people and get around more people and build relationships, because it's also about who they know. So don't think that you have to continue. It's about those people that you're meeting who may not be ready to buy or sell, but you know that they're going to know people that are going to buy and sell. Even if it's 4% of the people they know. And on average, we all have 200 people that circle our atmosphere, each of us. You have 200 people, Jaden, that come in and out of your life in a year, some daily, some weekly, some maybe once a year, but there are about 200 people, each of us, that we have that come in and out, that we have at least a regular touch of some sort with. And it's those people that you hope definitely to be able to help them buy or sell. But also I want you thinking about, don't throw them aside or think, oh, because there was nothing more frustrating to me in the beginning when somebody would say to me, John, they'd say, well, I'm never moving. And I'd be like, oh, check them off the list. I didn't think about, well, that's okay. You know how I can help you? I can help you if you need a plumber or painter or what have you. And if you have any friends or family that talk about moving and you think I might be a good fit, I would love to be able to help them. And if you could introduce us, that'd be great. But just know I can still be a resource even if you're never going to move. But I would just kind of write them off. I'd be like, I thought that was a rejection. I took it as full rejection.
I've been trying to take people to coffee, friends, and it's one way to catch up what's going on in their life, job changes and stuff.
Yeah.
But with a couple of them, they have kids, and one just recently got married and they're renting. The other one's engaged and gonna be moving next year.
Okay.
Um,
Life events.
Yeah, so I try to, like, when I reach out and I text them like, hey, let's go get coffee, I try to be purposeful, like, well,
Yes.
where could this lead? They may not be moving, but they may have a big sphere of influence.
Definitely.
So, I just recently had lunch with a teacher that I used to work with. We haven't seen each other since I left. And she was just so excited to have breakfast. And then she told me, I need your business cards. Do you have them? Of course, I always have them on my phone. And I said, here you go. Because we talked about real estate a little bit. And she said, as soon as I find someone that's looking or buying, you're definitely my person. I'm like, oh, thanks.
That's a wonderful cheerleader. And you're gonna,
Yeah.
and you all have those people in your
Mhm.
world.
You just have to find them and really think and be purposeful of,
Yes.
and for me, some of my friends like lunch.
Yeah.
Some of my friends like just coffee because they're busy.
Yep.
So it's just trying to find what it is that you can connect with them. Just
Love
make
it.
sure you're at the top of the list.
I love it. And looking for those life events for them or for family and friends that they know. And that is a wonderful cheerleader. That person you need to nurture and say thank you. Because think of it this way also, when you have that coffee or breakfast or lunch with someone, say to them, done this crazy thing about getting my real estate license, and I would love it if you would be my eyes and ears. I'd love your help. So that if you hear someone who's thinking of buying or selling or even wants to invest in real estate, and you think I'd be a good match, then please introduce us. So I'm being purposeful in letting them know what I do, how I do it, and that they can help me. And people want to help other people. They're like, yeah, I'll do what I can. Now, be okay that some won't. There'll be some people, it's just not their personality to actively go help you. That doesn't mean they don't still like you and that they may not use you. It may not be their personality to go refer you and rah for you. Okay. You just have to be okay that not everybody's that personality type, and that's okay. Okay. Money is good for the good it can do. Why do we have such negative connotations about money? Money is the root of all evil. Money corrupts. All of this. Actually, no, money can be good if you do good things with your money.
I see it as a useful tool.
Exactly. Think about how you want to be able to help people or help things you're passionate about or organizations. And so I want you thinking about, you're thinking, well, I'm not making much money now. I'm new. So the income that comes in, but you've got to start thinking about also what you're going to be spending in real estate and what you'd like to spend. Like for next year, I challenge you when you're doing your business plan, have two different budgets. Have the basic budget. This is what I can afford today in marketing and in any of my real estate expenses. And here, when my business takes off, and it could this next year, here's where I would add expenses on some marketing. I would do some more marketing to my database. I would always spend money on my database first. And then think, oh, do I want to farm and marketing to strangers? Or do I want to do? So think about where you'd like to grow your marketing budget and what you would do targeted that money. That's why that 135, when you have those activities of what you're going to do. So, and then with that profit, please, if you haven't gone to any of our red classes that have focused on your money, please be opening up a separate checking account. Please be creating an LLC. Please start acting like this is a business. Do not commingle your money. And then I want you to think, what is the basic salary I need to earn. And then as you start earning that in real estate, then anything over that you're setting aside. Remember, please remember about taxes. 20 to 30% you should be setting aside depending, and I don't know your own tax circumstances, but if you set aside that much, then you're not going to have the ugly reality of owing the IRS. I've been there. I've done that. 18,000. I owed. That's nothing compared to some. Had an agent, 80,000, 81,000 she owed to the IRS. She made a lot of money and she spent it. Like, oh, it was the saddest story. She was an agent for many, many years. And she, and I'd seen her, it was back when we had in the newspaper on Sundays, all of the real estate ads and everybody's face on the houses for sale, right? In the ads. And she'd been a prominent agent for years. She came to us, it was my first year I was here. And she had lost her car. She was living in a friend's house or apartment, and she owed 81,000. And I said, but you've done years of business and all of these past clients. She goes, well, I didn't treat any of them very well. And so I always have to go find new business. And she's really good at scripts. I mean, she could convert expireds and cancel listings and FSBOs like nobody's business. But then as the broker, I get calls saying I don't hear from her and complaining. So she could get the business and she made a lot of money. So on her first closing with us, she booked a trip to Tahiti and then went to Burberry.
Barbados?
No,
Barbados.
no, Burberry, the clothing store.
Oh, yeah.
And bought like
Just because I'm thinking,
3 blouses for like $300 each.
She
And I just-
celebrated.
I just went, that's what she thought. I'm like, you know, you're borrowing a friend's car and you're living in somebody else's, you owe the IRS 81,000. So don't be that person. And so she got out of real estate because she didn't treat those people, those clients, all the hundreds that she had hundreds of clients in the time that she was in this business. She didn't build a business. She just churned through business. Please don't be that person. No. Oh my God. So profit, what is your goal? Think about what do I need to earn to live on? And then over that, don't think, oh, I'm rich when I get that commission check. Oh, I'm rich. I'm going to go shopping. You better have thought about how much you need to set aside for you and your taxes and that. And then anything after that, then where do I need to put that money? In savings, in retirement? Where do I need to put that? Do not spend every check that comes your way. Now, I know your first couple of commission checks, you may need to use all of it. I get it, but just keep in your mind what taxes should have come out of it so that you can do that. So those cost of sales, what on each transaction, a cost of sales is what you share to the market center here on your commission splits, the royalty fees to Keller Williams International, and then any referral fees that you pay, what you pay to the coaching program. Those are all costs of sales. Operating expenses are your rent, auto, salaries, if you have your insurance, your professional services, your marketing, advertising, all of that, your education, those are expenses. So best practices. This is what I really want you thinking about. Having clarity on your big why, having a personal and business budgets. Open additional bank accounts for taxes, expenses, and other savings. Download and use the MRE chart of accounts. Purchase and download tax accounting software or have a good tax person. Hire an accountant, CPA, attorney, tax advisor. Set date to calculate and pay your estimated taxes. Remember, you're supposed to pay your estimated taxes quarterly as a self-employed person. And if you don't understand and get good advice, you'll pay more on self-employment taxes. And you'll be like, whoa, that's coming out of my check. Because most of us are used to it already coming out. That's why you're going to think you're rich. You get this big fat check. Nothing's taken out except the money that your commission split stuff in the program. Everything else, no taxes were paid. And your insurance and savings and investments. Think and act the wage you want before you earn it. Average is as average does. Good is as good does, and great is as great does. What you do is who you become. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little homework as we go see Chad Taylor at the business. Design your future. Okay, this is for the next 12 months. Your big why, your value proposition, your profit goal, and your number of transactions, smart database, all of this. And this will go very nicely with what you've been working on your business plan.
I don't know, what was the benefit of the LLC? Did you mention I have an LLC, but it's for property I own?
Yes, so that it's how you can get paid, and it's for tax purposes like that, to not have to pay as much on self-employment taxes.
So would it be best to set the second LLC?
You need to talk to a tax accountant or someone to see what
I would
is.
probably say, yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna say yes too, but I want you to talk to someone who that's what they do for a living. But it will save you on taxes. And keep your expenses and everything separate.
Yeah, I keep my life stuff and my LLC stuff, church and state side.
Good, good. So you already have that.
I don't need to have it.
Oh, good,
Everything's separate.
good. Well, you'll just want to find out what you need to do for real estate. Okay, everybody at home, thanks so much. Bye, Tim. I think Connor's jumped off. We'll see you later. Thanks.